Hello everyone, it is What's Doing at the Boat Shop, July edition. I'm your host, Graham McKay, the Executive Director here at Lowell's Boat Shop. And what is going on? We're starting here. So what's really going on, the 1,000-foot view, is we are trying to push projects out the door so that we can clean up, as we always need to. Every day I come in and I say we need to clean up and make room for this Bantry Bay gig. And so this project here I've been pecking away at. This is a little 11-foot Deer Island skiff. And the Deer Island skiff is something that they sort of, I guess you could say the Odells designed it in the 80s, and it was the answer to an economical dinghy. And they took Asa Thompson's skiff design and flattened it out. If you look at the Asa design, it's got a lot of rocker for a short little boat. They flattened that out and they made the sides low enough that you could build it with 2 planks. And back in the mid 80s, they could build one start to finish in about a week, which is pretty good. I have taken that because I can't leave well enough alone. Taken that design and I raised the shear a little bit just because I think it makes for a better boat, and I made it a 3-plank boat, which with a boat like this that has no knuckles in the frames is a very easy thing to do, and I just think it's a little better looking. And this boat will, when it's completed next week, head down to Nantucket. So I'm in the process of getting the rails on, and what I've done here, you'll notice there's a little paint. I've primed behind the rail because once these are all together, it's a real pain, as John will tell you over here, to get all this inner rail and all that kind of stuff painted. And so as much as you can get ahead of that and save yourself some hours, you can. Walking over here. John's putting the fine touch on this guy. So this is a 15-foot, I guess you'd call it a racing dory. It's for a guy in Rhode Island, and he's a lifeguard and races. These lifeguards race these boats. So it's built to specific specs for their racing. Bottom length, overall width, all have limitations on them. And so this is built within those specs, just barely, but it is. And now John's doing the part I just talked about, which is painting the pain of painting this rail. Half of that time is actually trying to tape it all off here so you don't get paint where you don't want it. And this boat's, it's a newsprint, very black and white, but the idea, the look is that it looks sort of Coast Guard-y with a white boat with a black rail. But this will go away. I say go away. I say that like it's a bad thing. This will be delivered to its beautiful new home on Tuesday of next week. This is a new addition that you didn't see last month. This is a Chesapeake Lightcraft boat, not something that we would normally build, and we did not build this. Chesapeake Lightcraft makes plywood and epoxy kits down in Annapolis. And so you can buy a kit and assemble it. This belongs to Scupper Bennett, our former apprentice, and now turned rocket scientist, quite literally. And he was working at the rocket lab or whatever down in Huntsville, Alabama, and he built this in his 1-bedroom apartment down there. And so he had it in the middle of his room for most of the process, and then he's since moved to Baltimore and had it in storage and was trying to get us to finish it off for him. I said, I'll just bring it up and you do it. So he's been here. He was here for about a week to get it to this stage, and he's been showing up on random weekends from Baltimore to get it done. But it's the kind of thing, again, here where it's the perfect scenario, I think, for a former apprentice to use this place as a boat shop, because that's what it is. And they've got the skills and they've earned it, and this is perfect. Just like this thing over here. It's another former apprentice. This is Lokeese. Lokeese is going into his junior year at UC San Diego. And so he's making himself a lightweight surfboard. Doesn't look like a lot now, but there's a lot of work in there. It's hollow on the inside, like an airplane wing. Looks like he's got a pretty good shape to it too. It's all red cedar, so he'll sand that down and make it all pretty. He's got to figure out, and this is always the hard part with these things, he's got to figure out what to make the rail out of. So to get that rounded shape, it's hard to do that without adding a bunch of weight to this. And this is, it doesn't want to get a lot heavier than this is now. And so sometimes you can strip build it. I don't know what he's planning on doing, but I'm anxious to see it. And I'm hoping to see it done before he goes back to school in a month. Let's see. Let's go outside and look at a pile of wood. Getting it apart?
Yep.
Because it got all soaked in the thing.
Yeah. Let me go with these.
I didn't think to add that to the insurance claim. Scratch and sniff. What we got here is a big pile of cedar. So this came from Evergreen Forest Products up in Vermont, and they delivered it on yesterday. So it's been sitting here for a day. This is our plank stock for the gig, for the Bantry Bay gig. And so what we'll be doing is pulling from this once we start building. We'll start to see this pile diminish. It's probably twice as much as we need, but with cedar, that's kind of generally what you need to do, is order 2x what you need, because just by the nature of the wood itself, half of it is kind of unusable. I mean, this is actually a pretty decent piece of cedar. You've got knots in it, but they're tight. There's no blue stain, any of that. Oftentimes there are flaws all the way through it, and you spend a quarter of your time fixing flaws rather than using it. So this is pretty good stuff, and they were great to work with. Called them up, told them what we needed. Some of these lengths are 22 feet, which is kind of unheard of. And they, very nice folks, and they drove it down yesterday. Over here, so we launched that cat boat that we fixed up, and we had a tough go of it. It didn't last very well. Our canvas job, it all kind of came apart, so I guess we got to do it again. Psych. We sold that boat. It's kind of like a Dumb and Dumber trade. Sold that boat, and when the guy bought it, he brought this up and dropped it off, took that one away. So it's going to a yacht club down on the Cape somewhere to be used as a sail training vessel, I guess, for some of the kids. And so this came out of their fleet, and I guess now we get to rebuild another one of these. But it's in okay. I mean, it's not totally dead, but I'm told this one is from the 70s, the early 70s. And what I'm hoping is that now our kids have so much experience rebuilding one of these that they can do it on their own without much help. I've taken a cursory look at what it needs, and I'm looking at a lot of sistered frames over there already. So if you look in here, these used to be singles, now they're doubles. So someone's already put new frames in this at some point. The shape doesn't look too bad. The outside really doesn't look too bad. So that all might be just fine. But the deck, I guess, what he said when he brought the boat was that when they put the deck on, they ran the canvas, wrapped it around, as we did, but they didn't paint around and down. And so what happened was the canvas that was wrapped over soaked up water and held water in between the rail and the end grain, and just rotted out the canvas and rotted out the boat too. This is all rotten along the rail. So anyway, could be a fun thing, but this might This might get covered and put in mothballs for a bit. I don't think it's fair to have our apprentices do another one of these immediately. We have plenty of other projects for them to do. But these are great boats, fantastic boats, and I'm psyched that the one that we rebuilt is going to go be used by kids down in the Cape. What could be better? It actually happened. So
What's the time frame to construct the boat from start to finish? I think you started from scratch, or
well, yeah. So
yeah, I can see
hours-wise, something like
Can we-
this is
can we have
probably
do some photographs?
yeah. This is something maybe 80 or 100 hours to get to this point.
Oh wow!
And this is a very basic kind of boat. We're about to start a 38-foot. Boy, they are doing some tree work over there. All right, well, just another day at Lowell's Boat Shop. Mayor of Amesbury ain't gonna stopping by. Whatever. This is our last thing to talk about, and at least this month. So Momentous, the launch of this 12.5 finally happened about 2 weeks ago. The new owner is actually a guy who used to work here and run this place back in the 90s and early 2000s. And so this boat is going to live in Newburyport and be sailed around in Newburyport Harbor, which is great. And we're in the final stages. He's working on on rigging it here. Pay no mind to this hot mess. It's going to be cleaned up and look a lot better, but he took it out for a little shakedown last night, and I guess she sailed pretty well. Of course, she did, but I think she's looking great, and I'm super proud. This was many, many years of the apprentice program working on this to get it to this stage, and the fact that it looks this amazing and seeing it in the water is such a reward. Once she's all rigged up and ready to go, we're going to have a little gathering with the kids who have worked on her over the years, and hopefully get them out sailing and let them see the end result of their many, 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 many times 100 hours of hard work. So
They did not.
yeah.
Well, boy, howdy, let's go do the great loop downtown. Woo!
I didn't get them.